Will Bosi has made a rapid repeat of Jimmy Webb's Font 8C Plus or V16 boulder problem Sleepwalker in Red Rocks, Nevada. Now at UKC, we occasionally get comments on how much we report on downgrades. And we do love a good downgrade. It's like the hot gossip of the climbing world. But grades aren't set in stone. They're on stone, but the actual grade thing is all just kind of made up, really. And anyway, never is that gossip so hot as when a British climber downgrades an American climber's boulder problem. And that is exactly what Will has proposed, suggesting that Sleepwalker may well be Font 8C as opposed to Font 8C Plus. And the big question here is whether that will have ramifications for the grade of Daniel Woods' sit start to the problem, Return of a Sleepwalker, which is one of just a handful of Font 9As throughout the world. Going back to Sleepwalker, Will made ridiculously fast progress on the problem, managing all the moves in isolation within his first session and linking the top half of the problem seemingly with ease. He came even closer on the second session, repeating that top half again and then trying those earlier moves, finding each easier than he had within the previous session. Will had this to say: "I decided just to go from the start and fell straight away on the sloper move. Every go from there I felt better and stronger on the moves, and about 2 hours later I stuck the sloper. I did the next two moves well, and just before I went for the last hard move my hand slipped. I managed to stick the sloper twice more but not as well, but considering I had a 4-hour session and still felt like I had a chance, I was hoping I'd get the send the next session after some rest." Will's plans to rest were scuppered by a poor forecast, so he decided to go and have one quick final session before the rain came in. He warmed up, did each move in isolation, and then proceeded to send the problem on his first attempt of that day. Whilst the downgrade of Sleepwalker would have come as quite a surprise 12 months ago, for those who have been following Sleepwalker's recent history, it will come as less of a surprise. It's received a flurry of ascents, and since October it's had 6 in total. Xander Waller's initial downgrade was met with skepticism, partially because of the methodology he'd used to climb it. He's a taller climber and had used his height as well as dynamic moves to jump through certain sequences, so he hadn't used the original beta. But that's the way that climbing goes sometimes. 17-year-old Kai Whaley also repeated the problem, but he used the original sequence and agreed with that Font 8C Plus grade. But both Kai and Xander had something in common, and that is to get to this lofty grade, they'd skipped 2 separate grades in the process. It's worth mentioning that Will did use the standard and original beta for the problem, but given the speed of which he climbed it, is it an indication that it's soft for the grade, or that Will is on the form of his life, or a blend of the two? Since completing Sleepwalker, Will has turned his attention to Daniel Woods' sit start, the Font 9A Return of the Sleepwalker. Daniel put this up in 2021 after a Herculean 52 sessions. I think I got away with it. Will's now 5 sessions into projecting Return of a Sleepwalker, and in his latest update he managed each other moves in isolation again, describing them as, and I quote, "quite chill," which potentially answers that question about the form that Will is in right now. Will had this to say about his progress: "To my surprise, I climbed the bottom really well and managed to get a slight high point, falling, getting the pinch below the sloper. I then gave quite a few more tries from the start, but wasn't able to get into the stand again. Psyched for the next session." So the first questions, will he do it? We think he will. He's got a good track record. The next thing is, if he does do it, will that downgrade of Sleepwalker from the stand have an effect on Return of a Sleepwalker, the sit? So bear in mind he's 5 sessions in currently, and Alphane, which he described as being a soft 9A, took him 10 sessions in total. That's maths, or for our American audience, math. Jokes aside, we're not baying for the big downgrade here. It looks like an amazing problem on beautiful rock, but we do like downgrades. Sorry.